You're listening to your brain on air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy. Du lytter til din hjerne på luften. Programmet begynder snart.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Your Brain on Air. I am your host, Ollie Vogt Larson. And I think men are officially retarded nowadays. We can call it. We want to mock women for caring too much about what others think. Folks, men across the world are investing in leg lengthening surgeries. Oddly enough, some from the same crowds that hate transgender people. Let me elaborate on the issue for you. Men across the world are investing in a surgery that can cost them upwards of $100,000 to allow them to, what you may ask, break the femur, your largest and strongest bone. Insert these tools that hold the bones in place to allow a few inches of room in between your newly severed leg, and then you got about 9 to 12 months recovery for full use of both of your goddamn legs. Men are doing this because they feel insecure, they feel tiny, they feel like no one understands them. They sound like little bitches to me, if I'm being honest. If I'm gonna be so just legit with you, they voice it like a transgender person. They go, I wasn't my true self at 5'6". Now I'm happy and fulfilled at 5'9". By the way, half of the time these are like red pill type guys, the guys that would mock people for doing gender transition surgery. It's like, you're just as bad as them, excuse you. I'm gonna be honest, these freak shows that you see who are willing to make these weird advancements, body modifications, allowing doctors the canvas of their body for all of their inverted visions, self-hatred things. These are the types of people that we used to have big buildings called mental health sanatoriums for. And you used to not hear from these people after about middle school because we realized they were self-reflected, self-hating, that honestly they were a burden to everybody else with their presence. Just being around an ill mind after a while, I don't know if you've noticed this, after a while of being around somebody who's just not right in the head, it's bad for us normal-minded people. Nowadays, we don't have big crazy buildings for crazy people. We make them commit crimes first and then we throw them in prison. But folks, let's hear about it maybe from these men. Maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe once I hear it from them, once I hear all the positives, maybe I'll understand this odd trend. Let's go.
I was 168 centimeters before. I'm 5'9" now, so 175.
He was 5'6" before the surgery, and now he's 5'9". You get 3 inches, my guy.
I can't move. I can't do nothing basically. Please give me some morphine because I'm dying.
It's something the influencer Clavicular has said is the future, and other looks maxers also promote it as a way to improve your dimensions. Leg lengthening, it's not for the faint of heart. This is where a doctor will surgically break your bone and insert a device that slowly pulls it apart as it's trying to heal, forming new bone within.
So you have an open wound in your legs for the whole period of the lengthening process, which is not fun. You know, it's painful also.
And is this something fueled by women?
Oh my god, shut the fuck up. What's unfortunate is that these men have little to no personality. These men are honestly less than just their sexual and emotional desires. They're weaker than anyone can really understand. These men who end up, by the way, these are the types of men that end up poisoning the world with their horrifically dull ideas and poor states of mind. Christ, quit blaming women just because you can't get some pussy. Jerk off once or thrice if you're honestly feeling that lonely. Actually, by the way, maybe that's part of the issue. Most of the time, these men are addicted to porn. They refuse to work on their self-image. They refuse to submit to the universal powers that may be. They have little to no interest in anything beyond what's inside their heads. It's sad. It's just pathetic. It's so stupid. Let's hear it.
They do the surgery just because they think they're gonna have more success with like girls. We're the main reason why the men they do this.
Marius, who went from 5'7" to almost 5'11", has been sharing his journey on TikTok and believes it's important to be honest about the good and the bad.
I remember when I woke up after the surgery, the moment I moved my leg, I felt like the worst pain ever.
So why'd you do it?
This surgery cost as much as $100,000, but in places in Turkey, it can be as little as £20,000. You're immobile in hospital for months while the bone is being lengthened, and many months afterwards as well while you learn how to walk again. How long do you think you'll reach full mobility?
So I've got another good 6 months to fully recover, hopefully, you know.
Jesus fuck.
I'm doing basics now. I can jump, I can squat.
So what drives these men, who aren't even looks maxers, to undergo such grueling surgeries? Who made himself homeless after spending all his money on becoming taller, said this.
Oh my god, men are making themselves homeless. Don't try to blame women for this. I'm so sorry to say it. This is just men digging themselves into a hole. This is like when women try to get all, You're the reason that we have the makeup industry. You're the reason that everybody wants to be a size 0. No. Actually, most of the time, it's the fact that all of your girlfriends look at you because they want to find. By the way, most of the time, women develop friend groups of like, you'll see that they transition from the skinniest to the fattest. And it's like a line of dissension where every person who is a little bit skinnier than the last brought on the bigger person, because women love hanging out with people that are bigger than them. That's just a fact, because it makes them look better by comparison.
Was the only way out of crippling mental health issues.
My main issue was the psychological effect of being short. I always felt like the underdog. I always felt like I'm not good enough. I'm not man enough. I wouldn't want
You
to
clearly aren't man enough if you're sitting there going, oh, 5'6", I can't manage to give anything to a woman. Maybe you don't. Maybe these people realize they have no personality. They have nothing going for them besides the idea that they might be able to intimidate a woman sexually.
I'll just be alone, like by myself, not wanting to speak to anybody.
That's probably for the best.
This is really affecting my life.
He described the fear he felt moments before he went under, but still had no regret.
I remember prior to going into surgery, right? I'm thinking like, if mate, I can really die, but if I do, like, I'm at peace because I'm gonna die knowing that I'm dying, chasing my dream.
This is such mental illness. This is so mental illness coded. This is the same people that are like, transition the kids at like 9, get them on hormone blockers, get them on the idea of like, no, your name's not Nate now, it's Courtney. Like, come on.
Like, you asked me, like, do I regret it? I do not regret it 100%.
He travelled to Turkey without telling any of his family or friends that he was getting his surgery at a specialised clinic. You didn't tell anybody you got this done?
Nah, I didn't tell anyone because I felt they wouldn't understand. They wouldn't have understood where I was coming from.
Because you're coming from a place, I love this so much. When people say, no one really understands the perspective that I have. Most of the time, people who say that have crazy perspectives. Or perspectives that take so long of sitting in the dark by yourself, hating who you are, who you've grown up to be, because you just have no sense of self. You have no sense of anything that guides you in this life. And then it's like, well, just like kind of like, go away. No one wants to be around this type of a fucking schmo. A nobody. I'm going to be honest with you. A nobody. A loser.
5'9". I know I'm not the tallest now, right?
5'9", I'm taller than you motherfucker. I've been called. I have been like known. I around my area. I grew up with Nordics. I grew up in Minnesota. So there was a bunch of tall people and shit like that. I'm 5, whatever, like 5'9", 10-ish. That's kind of like where it evens out, especially if you get me in shoes. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. This is next level retard.
I'm taller. I'm happy.
This was something that Marius also felt.
When I found about the surgery, I was like, yeah, definitely, I want to do it. I'm happy, I feel confident,
Interesting.
You oddly look more like a midget after the surgery because your body, the way that you the body is designed to carry its weight a certain way. And if you lengthen shit out, if you Mr. Fantastic stretch yourself out, all this shit, it's gonna sit weird. You look like a legal midget now.
Both of the men that we spoke to didn't feel like this would be an issue that could have been solved through therapy.
Many people, they said, go to the psychiatrist.
No, I don't go to the psychiatrist, because guess what? The psychiatrist is also like Freudian weirdos who are going to tell you that it all goes back to the idea that you want to fuck your mother. I'm not telling you to go to psychiatrists. I'm telling you to work on yourself. Whatever that means for you, I'm not the one to give you that, because you're the man who needs to figure out what that looks like for you. And if you're not man enough to figure out what that is, you're not a man. I'm sorry.
That's not gonna fix it.
I just never thought therapy would, like, anyone would really understand where I was coming from.
Some data suggests that the rate of complications is 1 in 2 patients, with horrific infections, bone deformities, and nerve damage all on the line.
It is really arduous surgery. Patients do need to have psychological assessment to understand that they're doing it for the right reason. Have you got the finances?
What is the right reason? Wait a minute. Doctors will hear this. Are you doing this because it's gonna make you happy? Whenever doctors say that, it is a false positive. Do you know why? No one can say whether or not a transition or a surgery would make them happy. So doctors are relying on self-diagnosis. This is the exact same situation as the transgender stuff. And listen, I still would call Caitlyn Jenner a woman. I'm gonna vote for her when she runs for president. It's unfortunate. I'm sorry you hate trans people. I'm sorry. Sucks. I'm willing to watch her and her girlfriend go make America great again.
Not just to pay for the surgery, but to be able to live during the period of time where you'll be economically inactive.
To let the patients know how it's gonna be. Each of the holes that I had in my leg got infected.
They really are difficult problems, and I don't envy the poor souls that have them.
God, what do you mean have them? They enlist in them. It's not like you were born with the desire to create your legs longer. Jesus fuck. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies specifically, drink milk. I'm so sorry. Like, if you're pregnant right now, caloric intake, because if you like at all create a tinier baby, if you make him feel little in this world, my God, he's gonna get that phone and he is gonna feel like Mom, why didn't you optimize your protein intake? Now I'm 5'4". And it's your fault. All right. We also have men willing to do anything to keep their hair nowadays, all except, I guess, like keeps. There's a booming cosmetics market, more specifically in Turkey. A new series of deaths has people worried about the nation that performs the most hair transplants than any other country. Just fucking go bald. Guys, balding men specifically, listen up. Once my hairline creeps back far enough, if it ever does, you will see a bald Ollie. You will see me. By the way, it's distinguished. Many cultures view it as a sign of like a release of the ego, a detachment from the material, a redirection of all of your energy towards the deeper wisdom, and it can signify the season of the spiritual transition, the shedding of the old burdens, the surrendering, the need for control. In all honesty, even keeping around barely any hair still looks better than if you have a yellow scalp from necrosis. Dudes, hair is a symbol of vigor and youth, and it's not meant to stay around fully. I'm just going to be honest with you. Mine's already starting to gray. I can't fight it. None of us can. None of us can fight the aging of our bodies, but promise me this. You will use hair volumizers, you will use dyes, you will use powders, you will use whatever you need to feel confident and happy, but you have to promise me, Ollie Vogt Larson, that you will never, ever consider undergoing a hair transplant. I'm doing this for you. Many men, I'm just going to be honest with you. Many men wish death on me, not that, but who have had them say that it's the biggest regret they have. I'm just going to be honest with you. They have this weird flap of skin in the back of their head because they tried to get the hair follicles to grow in the right way. Fuck that, man. Fuck that shit. That's a medical psyop that's designed to make men care about things that don't really matter. And I love, by the way, let's just play this clip from Turkey before we get into my greater gripes with Big Pharma. Let's go.
The final costs may be around 1/4 of those in the United States, but there is also a thriving black market in Turkey, and scare stories in the media warn of other potential costs.
Often we see a problem with over-harvestings, and that can lead to awful scarring and in some very serious cases, necrosis, and that's death of the tissue. Because the primary problem is non-medical people doing a lot of the surgical steps and the disregard, I suppose, for the medical aspect of hair transplant surgery.
In 2025, 2 British men died shortly after going to clinics in Turkey. Turkey carries out more hair transplants than any other country, and has also become a magnet for all forms of medical and cosmetic tourism, often packaged to include a holiday, teeth and hair into one enticing bundle. In 2023, Turkey tightened the regulations around hair transplants. Still, travelling across the globe to place your head in the hands of someone you may not meet until the day of surgery comes with risks. And it puts patients thousands of miles away from
You want to go over there and have some Turk operate with tools that don't look clean, by the way. You can see how they look fucking yellow on the ends of them. You want some Turkish lady to put you under while some guy, because they're not going to let the woman do it, but you're going to have some guy pricking at the top of your head over and over, trying to align your scalp so that it grows. What are you even... think about it. Think about it for 5 seconds.
surgeons during aftercare.
What if it goes wrong? What if something goes wrong medically in Turkey, in a country that's 5,000 miles away? Am I hypochondriac? It scares me.
Then why are you doing it, you fucking dumb shit?
He's one of roughly 1 million people who travel there each year just to save their hairline.
Oh my God, guys, give it up.
$1 billion a year industry.
People are gonna go, you don't get it. You're one of the luscious heads. You don't understand our plight. You look wiser without it. I'm just gonna be so honest with you. When it comes to like the creeping back of hairlines, guys, let's not fight it. Patrick Stewart is not an unattractive man. Is he gay for Ian McKellen? Yes, that doesn't even matter to me. But what does matter to me is that this is a profit off of insecurity, and I want to make it clear to most men, you don't need this shit. Everybody is so willing to call out big pharma. Even on the left, they want to talk about insurance companies. They want to talk about how hospitals set ridiculous prices to try to fuck us over, and they run out all these sorts of things that they barely even figure out how to test. And how can we trust all of this sort of stuff? And then they're getting comfortable with the idea of questioning the medical industry, especially in the era of Trump. You'll notice that people that were heavy on like get the vaccine, do all of this junk back in 2020, now all of a sudden, just because Trump is in control, suddenly they're getting all nervous and suspicious. Let's be really honest. When you go, just imagine what they're doing to the vaccines. A lot of people will just look at you like you just shot them. They still have the Dr. Fauci bobblehead. They make jokes about aborted fetuses in vaccines, cancer cells, and pig cells. They don't even realize that that's true. These people have never actually read a book about vaccines in their lives. People are going to hear this and go, Ollie, are you anti-vax? Borderline. I'm confused why you're so trusting of the government, the medical industry that's shown over and over they don't give a fuck about you. And once, by the way, it became illegal to sue vaccine manufacturers directly for standard covered vaccine injuries on October 1st, 1988, following the enactment of the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act of 1986. You still need specialized processes to get any sort of payback if these things harm you or your child. Folks, read a book, investigate, research, ask your doctor about vaccines. Next time that you see one, they are never taught anything about how these devices work. Fucking Vince Vaughn was kicked out of his child's doctor's office because he was trying to refuse vaccines. Guys, people know about this. Vince Vaughn knows this. If you start coming out with hantavirus shots, Ebola shots, fuck it. Fuck this shit. It's woods Ollie time. I'm going to be broadcasting from somewhere out in the woods. I will not give away my location. I'm moving out, heading out. Please ask your doctors about this shit. Test their knowledge. See how much they really know. Think and use your brain. I want to encourage all of you to protect yourself because people are so unwilling to question the medical industry in the only context. They're like, the insurance companies want to kill you. Organ donors want to, they make you sign the organ donor card to steal your organs, which is true. But, vaccines, there's no way they could be hiding anything with the vaccines. And if you question it, are you like an anti-science weirdo? People, science is the fact that it's open to debate. If you don't have open debate, it's not science at all. It's a religion. And Western medicine, as we know it today, is a religion. There's rules you must follow. There's people and family ready to cast you out of their groups if you speak out against this dogma. This religion, by the way, most of the time followed by secular people who are anti-religious, they don't even realize they're following it. Just because their priests wear lab coats, and they'll call the non-devout retards. When they're the retards deep down, it's regrettable. I'm sorry to wake you up on vaccines. We should dedicate a whole episode to it. And as a matter of fact, I might next week. And discussing some of the risks, the false goods, like the supposed eradication of polio, all that junk. I'm all in on facts. That's why liars, the schemers, or the lied to and the schemed on hate me. The people living in the lie made by others hate what I'm saying because it's true. Whatever, ladies and gentlemen. Let's let's be like that black bitch in Orange is the New Black. Let's transition over to UFOs. That's right, folks. Vaccines to UFOs. We're covering all our bases today. I'm eating a banana in between the videos that I'm playing. Shut up. I know it's gay. I'm white. Don't blame me. Blame the pigment. Let's talk about the Pentagon releasing more UFO files. I'm all in. I understand we're not getting any actual transparency from these files. It's just fun to see orbs fly around the sky. Let's go. The federal government's modern search for extraterrestrial life has entered an uncharted territory. Under the strict directive of President Donald Trump, the Pentagon, historically referred to as the Department of War, I love it, has just published a massive second wave of declassified and highly restricted UFO files. This new data group is part of an ongoing historic transparency initiative known as Pursue, the whole of government operation pulling hidden records from FBI, CIA, and NASA and military intelligence to lay out exactly what the government knows about UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomenon. All right, there's newly released files that have been sending shockwaves. Among the declassified archives are official 1969 NASA transcripts detailing an Apollo 11 debrief, where iconic astronaut Buzz Aldrin reported seeing a sizable object and a mysterious bright light near the light source near the lunar surface. The release also includes over 5 gigabytes of high-definition videos captured by modern military sensors featuring erratic, physics-defying objects tracked by pilots over restricted airspace in Iraq, Syria, and the East China Sea. Public fascination with the disclosure has reached a full absolute fever pitch. The government's dedicated database logging over 1 billion hits since the launch earlier this month. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended the rollout release, stating that these files have long fueled justified speculation, and that it's time for the American people to see the evidence for themselves, as though they're going to be very transparent and give it to all of us. Top administration officials assure the public that more documents are being actively processed. Mainstream astrophysicists are urging calm, noting many of the unanalyzed anomalies are likely optical artifacts, military flares, or high-altitude surveillance balloons rather than proof of alien invasions. However, many people don't love to talk about like the fact that we're shooting missiles at some of these orbs and it bounces right off of them and they continue to fly in whatever direction. I'm just going to give you the brief synopses. Go ahead.
Another batch of never-before-seen files on UFOs. This is part of President Trump's
But it's a nothing burger.
Transparency on government knowledge of potential extraterrestrial activity. Okay. So here are some of the new pictures and videos on the DoD's website. They include a few pictures of unnamed objects flying over the ocean. The release also includes dozens of documents, videos, and several audio files of NASA pilots reporting mysterious objects. Let's bring in Jordan Flowers. He is the executive director of the Disclosure Foundation, a nonprofit
Jordan Flowers
that advances UAP transparency through policy research, legal support, and public education. So our teams are still going through these files. Haven't seen any evidence yet, but what will you be looking for when you're diving into them?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And
don't make it about you.
I think from a big picture perspective here, we are looking at the second release of videos and documents from the government about this mysterious phenomenon. I think what's clear from a big picture here is that unequivocally we have things in our airspace and even in the global airspace demonstrating beyond next generation capabilities that we do not understand. There have been recent incursions of some of these objects at our sensitive military facilities, which are now wartime incursions. And I think whatever the truth is here is sensational, whether this is breakthrough U.S. technology, whether this is foreign adversary technology, whether this is an undiscovered natural phenomena, or whether this is some form of non-human intelligence. Whatever the truth is sensational.
We don't know.
It's the story of the decade, the century, or all of human history.
But that makes you wonder, without clarity, what's the benefit of releasing all this video and images for us to speculate? You know, if we think back to...
It's that we look like we're doing something. Ladies and gentlemen, we're releasing these so it looks like we're doing something. Because in all honesty, nothing will come of this. Nothing will. There's no grand revelations, just as there was no grand revelations from the public mass on the Epstein files. Most of the people, they have never visited the website. Most people have never opened a file in their life. Most people don't know what the fuck you're talking about when you reference certain actual image sources, all that junk. They don't know. They just didn't read it. And that's the same with these UFO files. I think the government is getting smart enough to the point where they realize if you just release things out into the public, most of the public will not actually read it. They are that fucking dumb.
Silver flying saucer image that became representative of aliens from the 40s and 50s, it stemmed from a lot of government research in Nevada around Area 51 of actual U.S. technology. So sometimes these can be secret government footage of government plans, maybe our government, maybe other governments. What do you think is the benefit, considering there are so many questions and speculation, of releasing the video so that we can all guess what
are we going to guess at, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think they're going to confirm for you that these are the aliens from 47,000 years in the future or 52,000 years in the future? Are they going to confirm that it's the Nordics? Are they going to confirm that it's the Greys? When are we going to have a Grey show up for, like, Caroline Leavitt, because she stands out there with her dumb little Jesuit face and all ready to, like, I'm like in my 20s. How old is Caroline Leavitt? She looks older than 28. And by the way, her husband, they got pregnant before she got married. Real Catholic there, but whatever. Let's just talk about, how about this? Speaking of Catholics, I love the Catholics. By the way, I love Catholics. They're so much more fun than WASPs, because in all honesty, I grew up with a family of WASPs and whatnot, and they're fun. They're fun-loving people. They're a little more cheery. And then I got the chance to hang out with Catholics. They're a little more brooding. They're a little more inner, you know what I mean? They have this sort of like, I think that they have the shame thing a little bit more down than the wasps. The wasps just like to, they like to hang out. They're like, we're white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. We just love to have parties. We love to like, have like a little drink after work and all that shit. But the Catholics, they come home and they like, you know, they don't hug their kids. That's kind of, you know what I mean? It's a different energy from the Catholics, and I love the Catholics. However, you'd think I'd need him to vote for me with how positively I'm talking about them, but I do. I honestly love the Catholics, and and no, nothing against the WASPs. Listen, baptized Lutheran right here. All right, if the Catholics are correct, I'm going to hell. So listen, I'm willing to bet that that Luther has it right more so than the Church. I'm sorry to say it. You guys worship the Vatican. No harm, no foul. No harm, no foul. I'm sure most of you don't even realize that it's the New World Order. I'm sure most of the people that go and pass things to the collection plate do not realize that they're funding the trafficking of children. It's fine. It's okay. Most Christians don't realize that they're dealing with that. However, let's talk about this new Bible diet trend. I love the religious individuals because they're such odd thinkers, and they think that eating the way that it's described in old text is gonna save you from the cancer that they still sell you at all these. Social media feeds are flooded with ancient approaches to modern wellness, and it's being called the Bible diet. It's gone viral on TikTok, Instagram. Influencers and wellness coaches are racking up millions of views by ditching heavily processed modern foods, which they're not even wrong about, by the way. I think what was the last count that 70-something% of American shelf food is highly ultra processed? Wait a minute.
You may want to hear this before you dive into breakfast this morning. New research finds 72% of all packaged foods in the U.S. qualify as ultra processed.
Well, okay, so 72%. All right. Listen, it's tough to avoid 72% of what's in the grocery store. What are you supposed to be targeting instead of ultra processed foods? They're focusing heavily on whole, unrefined foods mentioned throughout the Old and New Testaments, specifically targeting ancient grains like barley, spelt lean proteins like fish. That's not even a bad idea. And what creators call biblical superfoods like figs, dates, honey, extra virgin olive oil, and pomegranate. We're just becoming Greek. What do you mean? We're just becoming Greek. We're like, let's eat fish and olive oil. You could call this the Odysseus diet, and it would work just as well. Creators are pitching the movement as a spiritual blueprint for reducing inflammation, boosting daily energy. Yeah, that's great. It's also sparked a multi-million-dollar e-commerce boom on platforms like TikTok, the TikTok shop. Self-proclaimed biblical nutritionists are pulling in massive numbers by selling everything from basic holistic meal prep guides to ancient herbal remedy books. Some viral videos even feature digital creators jokingly generating AI-designed wellness programs like the Upper Room Diet, proving just how eager the online community is to consume faith-based content. Listen. Faith is making an explosion back onto the world because many people, when they're faced with nothingness, when many people are faced with pedophilic elite, murder, ritual sacrifice, when they're faced with these things, many people turn inwards towards the idea of like, okay, well, if I can't have a connection to the world around me, if I can't rely on others, many people will, instead of beginning to rely on the self, beginning to rely on, listen, I understand no one is perfect and no one can create their own moral code. We have to derive thoughts and meanings from other ones. And if Christ is where you derive some of your good lessons in life, good for you. I think that's awesome. He's probably what taught me a lot of my goodness. I'm a person who's willing to be legit about the Bible, where I do credit it for a lot of what the founding fathers did put forth in the founding of this nation. Many people are not liberal. Many people are too liberal to actually give credit to the idea of it being a Christian founded nation. It's not as though we have a pope who is ruling as president or anything like that. It means that we are founded on Christian ethics. And many people want to argue about what that means. Many people want to have debates, scholarly ones at that. I'm open to any of them, in all honesty. However, do I think that religion is good for a society on whole? No. I think that maybe, yes. Do we need it to keep some people from, hurting themselves, hurting others? Maybe the only reason they have to not do those things is because they fear the idea that the devil will be poking them in the ass with a pitchfork. And I understand if we need religion to keep those types in line. It's not everybody, though, ladies and gentlemen. Biblical influence might be good for certain individuals. Maybe not en masse. You know what I mean? Maybe not en masse. Listen. Fantasy-like thinking it's not inherently wrong for people. I'm not willing to call them idiots for this. I'm just, you need the Bible to tell you that it's a bad idea to eat Cheez-Its every day.
Diet inspired by scripture. The Maha movement bringing ancient eating habits.
It's not even a bad idea.
Here now to give us a taste is Annette Reeder, the biblical nutritionist. Annette, first of all, this looks amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Walk us through this and why it's so important and delicious.
All right. Well, where we're starting is with the 7 foods of the Promised Land.
Okay.
Because they're common, but yet they're overlooked in how great they are with our nutrition. And families today are tired of being sick. They're ready to reclaim their health.
They're tired of the goy slop.
This is what's going to do it. And so just to start with the 7 foods, it's simple. It's grapes, wheat, barley, dates, figs, olives, pomegranates. Common.
So explain to me, and maybe this is my ignorance, I'm happy to be educated and admit it. Where do you get 7 foods of the Promised Land? That's in the Bible?
It actually is. It's in the book of Deuteronomy. It was where God was going to take the Israelites into the Promised Land.
Because I always hear like milk and honey, and then that
well, that's in there too.
Yeah.
So he's taken them into the Promised Land with a banquet. The banquet was already ready, but they still had Egypt in their heart and mind.
Yeah.
So he had to filter that out. Like we have to filter out junk food.
Yeah.
He wants us to hey, I've got a banquet for you. It's healing. You're going to be nourished, satisfied. Your children are going to be happy and calm.
Yeah.
And everybody benefits.
So
who knows? Maybe this is what decimates autism rates. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe, and actually, by the way, it's probably, I'm not saying ultra-processed food gives your children autism. It probably does. I'm just not a scientist, so I can't make that claim. By the way, most scientists aren't even real scientists. Whatever.
You incorporate these ingredients into tasty everyday snacks.
Oh, good question. Especially for children because they need it more than ever.
You bet.
So, yes, you could just have a cup of pomegranate oreos.
Well, that looks so good.
I mean, you don't need to do anything else. Just open up a pomegranate, or today you have to get it in the freezer. Just pop them in your mouth. But the best thing is just carrying dates, especially if you're going to the kids' games or the swim meets or school lunches. Just carry a date. And this is better than a bag of chips.
Tell me what this is, because I want to eat some of it real quick.
Well, you said milk and honey. So that's the milk and honey dip.
And I can just do this right here, right?
I mean, it looks good.
Although these cookies have my name on them.
Yeah, so these are barley.
This is so retarded. It's just a bunch of wasps and one black guy, because even on Fox News, they can't avoid the diversity quotas. But it's just a bunch of wasps sitting around going like, this feels like a great idea. This is just like God's recipe for excellence and health. This is just so peaceful. I love, by the way, with this Christian revival that's going on for some reason on social media, it's one of the funnier things because you get to see celebrities even. And I thought celebrities were crazy for going to Scientology. I thought celebrities were crazy for going to all of those sorts of industries. Then you get to see Mark Wahlberg FaceTiming with Chris Pratt and Jonathan Roumie. If you don't know, he plays Jesus on that one show, The Chosen and whatnot. Here's an ad for Hollow that I cannot fucking stop. I need to avoid this. I need help avoiding this ad because it keeps showing up. They want me to pray this Lent. Lent is over.
Following Jesus was never meant to be done alone. Iron sharpens iron, you know.
What's up, Mark? Is this your way of asking me to join you on Hallow again this year?
It is.
Awesome. Gotta stay prayed up.
Isn't that my line?
What the fuck? Gotta stay prayed up, ladies and gentlemen? What? I didn't know that even religion was into the idea of viewer retention. I thought that we were in a social media landscape of cancer, but I didn't think that religion would stoop to these degrees.
I thought maybe this year I could do it. No?
There's Jesus.
Oh, hey guys. Sorry, I must have forgotten to silence my phone. I was just praying.
I was just praying. Oh my goodness. I love it. Love it, love it.
Classic Jesus. That's why we're calling. Hallow? This Lent? Absolutely. Sweet. Pray every day this Lent on Hallow. Stay prayed up.
Stay prayed up. This is the gayest thing I've seen in my life. Listen, if you need an app to help you pray to Christ, I was like 8 and I kept trying it out. I kept trying to put my hands together, talking to the big man. Listen, If you don't feel it, you don't feel it. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. It's certainly not going to work if you're talking, if you need a phone in front of you to pray. Good Lord, this is Gen Alpha's generation of prayer, where it's like, set up the phone, honey. We need to commune with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. All right. I want to jump into the rapid fire section of today's headlines. There's a lot of things that are concerning me, worrying me, quite honestly, about the future. I don't care about this biblical, eat grapes and dates if you want to. You're probably going to get cancer the same rate as all of us. But, I mean, it's the microplastics, it's the shit they're putting in the air, it's unavoidable. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to cover a bunch of things. There's a rapid fire section that we need. Listen, you need to know about a ton of this stuff in order to keep your media diet healthy, so we're just going to blast right through. They're already beginning the media overturn on the idea that the tick population is out of control. They are doing their best to discredit the idea. Midwest and NBC Chicago, all over the place. Many news stations are addressing online rumors and are trying to discredit all the ideas on social media that there are boxes of ticks being found on properties. Boxes of ticks can also refer, by the way, to the clusters that they often are, what's it called? They are born into. But if you don't know anything about that, that's perfectly understandable. Those clusters that people talk about, they want to put out the idea that, oh no, there's no literal UPS boxes being dropped in the middle of people's farms. There's no, get rid of this online TikTok conspiracy. People, why are people talking about the idea of alpha-gal syndrome? This is an online conspiracy theory.
So we posted about the season starting early and a surge in people going to the ER for tick bites.
And then they're going to go immediately. It's going to immediately pivot this. I can predict it right here, right now. They're not going to say that that there are befalling us as a nation. They're taking out Canadian meese, excuse me. I know that's the proper plural. There are Canadian moose being fell by clusters of ticks all over their bodies, draining their blood and killing them. And if you want to look into the reports yourself of these giant creatures being taken down by tick bundles, this is it's stuff that we don't have on record before at levels this high. No one wants to talk about it because they refuse to talk about it. They want you focusing on hantavirus. They want you talking about Ebola. They don't want you to talk about the fact that there are people allegedly finding these clusters of ticks that they would have never naturally found on their property.
Got a lot of comments, like this one, claiming farmers are finding boxes of ticks on their property. And this one that mentions Pfizer's upcoming Lyme disease vaccine. Mainly started from an influencer who said she heard about it directly from farmers.
Not just one influencer.
Make a connection to the vaccine, but a lot of people started to theorize it was related to Pfizer releasing the results from a trial for its vaccine.
Of course it is.
Those claims to the experts.
The experts. The moment you hear someone go, I took this to the experts, that means that they have went to a servant for the New World Order who has typed up the perfect dismissal piece to make every person who thinks critically about their own country feel like a fucking crazy person.
They couldn't say for sure, but they were highly skeptical it's happening.
They're doing perfectly fine infecting us just like this. I'm certainly not aware of any boxes of ticks. That seems very unlikely.
That seems very unlikely. Doesn't make sense to me. Why would people do that? Why would people ever have boxes of ticks? I just don't know. It's always that type. It's always the crowd that's going to be fooled by the vaccine, the people who are going to be fooled by the jury. By the way, these people were fooled by it back during the day. They're going to be fooled by it again this time because they have lives to upkeep. They can't even afford to question these things, by the way, because if you do, you lose your job nowadays. You refuse to engage in all of these sorts of the bullshit. People will call you crazy. They'll call you an anti-vax conspiracy theorist. You'll be outcast from society. This is just a fact of nature.
Already really high infection rates for Lyme disease.
Lyme is incredibly common already, and it's now the most common vector-borne disease in the continental United States.
They're immediately, instead of relying on the reports from individuals finding clusters of ticks, curious why the explosion of the population has gotten out of control, especially in regions where this tick hasn't even been found before, the immediate response you're going to hear from people, well, it's climate change. It's climate change. Climate change. There's no evidence for it. None. As a matter of fact, there's little to no evidence, and this disease, alpha-gal syndrome, was not first identified until the early 2000s. Bizarre. Bizarre, ladies and gentlemen. I want to move on because I understand many people. They don't want to be lied to directly to their faces. They don't want to have the wool pulled over their eyes. I'm not going to do my best to do that to you, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to look into the investigations into the tick population, into drops of tick research, if you want to look into Plum Island yourself, I encourage it, ladies and gentlemen. I only encourage self-enlightenment. That's all this show ever encourages. Folks, Minnesota daycare owner charged $4.6 million in a fraud scheme. This only is this is a fraction of what Minnesota is dealing with as a whole and as a state. But, I'm going to play a couple of these clips that I absolutely love. There's people, we have people clocked in, out cold in their cars, taking naps, who are supposed to be giving assistance to individuals in their apartments. Minnesota is actually a Coen Brothers movie. It's hilarious. It's like the movie Purple Rain. It's just kind of weird shit happening in this part of the country.
Investigations. Yeah, that's right. Staying with what Melina had just brought up, a Minneapolis daycare owner already charged in the massive Feeding Our Future scandal is now accused of stealing millions. Here's those details.
Authorities are accusing Fahima Mahmood of submitting more than 13,000 fraudulent child care assistance claims worth roughly $4.6 million between 2022 and 2025.
Nice.
The CEO of Future Leaders Early Learning Daycare in Minneapolis was also...
Now, guys, I'm not going to say what race or country she may belong to. She could be Irish for all you know. But it's not going to surprise you once you look up the picture for yourself. That's all I'll say.
The CEO of Future Leaders Early Learning Daycare in Minneapolis was also indicted in February. Prosecutors say she falsely claimed to serve thousands of meals through the federal nutrition program tied to Feeding Our Future.
Nice.
That's the pandemic-era food aid fraud scheme involving $250 million and dozens of people charged.
Winning.
Future Leaders Early Learning Center. This building received...
Future Leaders Early Learning was featured in a viral video by influencer Nick Shirley.
Oh yeah, who everybody was like, you're a fucking racist.
Apparently empty child care centers and helped trigger a federal response. Following the video, federal officials froze roughly $185 million in child care funding to Minnesota.
Good.
And deployed thousands of immigration agents to the Twin Cities area.
Good.
Meanwhile, at a Senate hearing yesterday, a whistleblower is testifying they face retaliation after raising concerns about abuse inside Minnesota state programs.
Of course they did.
I naively tried to get these problems solved because I thought I should. I was trespassed from my own workplace. And I was a victim of a smear campaign. I was investigated for being, of course, a incompetent employee, but I was investigated for bugging offices, and I was called racist.
Of course.
A former state investigator telling lawmakers...
By the way, that's one of the biggest things I've noticed, that left-leaning people, they have to fight it like a demon inside of them. They realize that I've talked to so many Minnesotans that are left-leaning, and then the moment that they have this clash in their head, it's like that scene in The Exorcist where she's trying to shake the demon out of her. These people can't reconcile with the idea of infinite, unlimited migration from other countries, maybe not being such a great idea for their home state. They're starting to feel it. It's not just racists in Kansas or whatever. It's not just racists in so-and-so, let's call it Kentucky, losing their jobs at the turkey processing plant. Now it's coming up to Minnesotans. Now it's coming up to the liberal elite over here. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, they are shaken in their boots. They are terrified. They are trying to get the demons out. It's terrifying. Try your best. If you can have an honest conversation with a left-leaning person and they can go, yeah, man, let's talk about the 89% Somali crime rate, that's when you know that it's a legit one. That's when you know that it's someone who's willing to talk the uncomfortable facts.
His unit was pressured after documenting alleged fraud involving child care centers receiving taxpayer money.
A senior DHS official became angry when they reviewed the document and ordered me to delete a number of paragraphs where I described the scope of the fraud. I soon learned that my refusal to hide this information from the auditor angered a number of high-ranking officials, and within days the same official told me, quote, you better be ready for the blank storm that's coming your way.
Jay Swanson testifying that some childcare operators paid parents to keep children at home.
Nice.
What they would do is they would tell the mothers that we don't want you to bring the kids to our child care center. You take care of your kids at home, but we'll pay you. So a mother of 5 children would, be taking in $1,000 a month to take care of their kids at home. And then in order to fulfill the education or work requirement, the child care center would falsify employment documents.
Falsify?
So the mothers could take those to their caseworker and show them that they were working at the child care center.
Wow.
Lawmakers say their testimony could shape future oversight in whistleblower protections.
Fun. That's pretty fun, ladies and gentlemen. I actually want to play you this one clip right here. We have one of the alleged Minnesota fraudster jumps from a 4th floor balcony in an attempt to escape the feds. This has just happened like 12 hours ago.
Right now is one of the 15 new defendants charged today by the Department of Justice for allegedly committing fraud in Minnesota, hobbling away from federal agents after jumping from a 4th floor balcony.
Nice.
This is Omar Mohammed. He is accused of stealing...
Omar Mohammed. All right. I'm not going to take any wild guesses. I'm not even going to comment on the pigmentation. That's not what I'm about. We're not about race here. We are about culture. We're about the ideas that some people may be getting, especially if in communities. I want to talk about welfare. I want to talk about reliance on the system. I want to talk about people who steal taxpayer money. No matter what color they are, ladies and gentlemen, this guy's name could have been Omar O'Flanagan for all I cared, and I still would have been calling him out.
Millions from Minnesota's housing stabilization program and came under federal investigation last year following a Care 11 investigation. This happened this morning right before top Trump administration officials held a big press conference announcing new fraud charges totaling $90 million across 7 different Minnesota welfare programs. Omar's escape from the feds did not last long. Senior DOJ officials tell Care 11 he was taken into custody this afternoon at the home of a co-conspirator in Blaine, Minnesota.
His leg does not look right, but who knows, ladies and gentlemen? Well, actually, while Minnesota is battling fraudsters, well, actually, they're not. More so the feds are, because Minnesota refuses to hold itself to account. That's perfectly fine. It's too liberal to do so. The federal agency of Minnesota's now are that regulate committee future markets have issued a statement to block Minnesota's new state law that would make operating or assisting in the operation of prediction markets a criminal felony. The lawsuit comes after Minnesota State Senate passed an underlying legislation. The bill bans most bet placing apps on prediction markets such as Kalshi, Polymarket, explicitly outlawing wagers on topics including sports, weather, popular culture events, war, and death. I'm not saying Polymarket or anything like that is good for humanity, but, as per the usual, Minnesota is handling the real issues facing its community.
Minnesota, which has become the first state to ban prediction markets like Kalshi and Polymarket, but the Trump administration quickly sued to overturn that ban, guys.
Because his sons are invested in Polymarket.
A total talker here. The law, which makes it illegal to operate or advertise prediction markets in the state, would go into effect in August. Companies that violate the rule could face criminal penalties, but here's the caveat: users would not face punishment. The Trump administration says it filed the lawsuit because it believes the markets fall under federal jurisdiction.
Well, I guess, kinda. It's a loose one. I'm not sold 1,000%. Just like I'm not sold 1,000%. You really mean to tell me that these people went ahead and looped the moon? You mean to tell me that these nervous fucks in this interview, I'm so sorry to say it, ladies and gentlemen, we covered the Artemis situation here. Even then, I'm like, why are these people so fucking awkward? Why are these people so uncomfortable? Why do the anxiousness that is the dread you feel from all of their faces in every interview? Why are you guys so full of dread? You just accomplished one of the biggest things for humanity, but all of a sudden you get one critique of being called actor knots, and you act like you're gonna fucking cry on camera. I'm just gonna be so honest with you. You don't have to go deep into comment sections. You don't have to go anywhere. People are like, just flat out like, yeah, the Artemis 2 was fake. The Artemis missions are fake right now. They're a massive funneling operation to get taxpayer money taken away from us. It's factually true. If you want to look into it, I'm just going to say it, ladies and gentlemen. You really mean to tell me And think about this logically for 5 seconds. You mean to tell me after years of us at first having the technology to go to the moon, we did it. We accomplished it. But then all of a sudden we have missing equipment. We don't have the technology to play it back. In fact, as a matter of fact, we don't even have the original recording. We don't, why did the camera tilt up as the first Apollo mission was leaving the lunar surface? Wait a minute. They had a broadcast cell phone call with the White House, Richard Nixon, while they were on the moon? Okay. I think when everybody wants to get honest, and I'm ready to get honest with the audience, when we look at however 7 lunar missions, most of them look like shit. Most of them absolutely it's the key framing. You can see that it's obviously some shit that he worked on with Walt Disney. It's not even a thing. It's not even up for debate anymore. Here, let's just play a clip.
The team uncovered a problem at NASA happening on the ground. They can put a man on the moon. 1. Booster ignition. But they can't keep track of the equipment they use to do it. That's according to NASA reports obtained by the I-Team. Kennedy Space Center employees report just last year, nearly $500,000 of high-tech items simply vanished. Digital video recorder valued at $100,000. Here's another one. 11 radios lost. Price, $35,000.
This is just money funneling.
Wave reflectometer went missing in 2008. That's another $18,000. NASA officials say they're aware of the problem. We need to do a better job of keeping track of it. Obviously, we know that. We want to do a better job of it. Most of the missing items are computers, TVs, and radio equipment.
Don't spend your time tracking computers and not launching spaceships. I mean, you need to be launching spaceships.
NASA lost the original recordings of the Apollo 11 moon landing. The original tapes were most likely reused or overwritten with low-resolution satellite imagery for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, because they were running out of tapes. Gone. Seemingly forever.
Columbia, this is Houston, reading 11, clear over.
You can tell me as many times as you want there's not supposed to be any stars with the way that they recorded it. Everything actually makes perfect and total sense. Believe it if you want, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't benefit me or it doesn't benefit me to buy into a lie. It doesn't. I'm just going to be so honest. It doesn't. Let's hear from these astronauts themselves, the actronauts.
I cannot tell you how many people have said, oh, you're going to see the actronauts. The actronauts. There are still people who do not believe that this happened. How do you handle that?
I ignore it.
You do it?
Yeah. But not... I think that's maybe, not even the right word. It's not how you feel about it either.
If I got paid as much as they did, I'd be so down to act as well. I would be down.
We value, we just value people. We just respect them.
Guys, this is from somebody who wanted to be an astronaut. I idolized these people when I was a child. It hurt me to figure out that we didn't go to the fucking moon. It personally hurt me. Because I was proud of us as a species. I was so profoundly, and I understand that was like, it happened when I was like 10, but you got to break that wall down eventually. You have to just kind of accept the fact that, fuck, Werner von Braun was a Nazi. Most of the people that taught me about this in school didn't know what they were talking about.
So it's not to dismiss them. I don't mind that people ask questions I want people to critically think about things and not just accept everything that they see. To me,
why don't you guys strap a GoPro to your heads next time you go to space? Next time you go to space, how about we do a 24-hour live stream? Uncut. That's the only chance that you're ever going to get me to buy into this bullshit.
It's speaking to some need that we're not filling. And I'd love to help them fill it. I don't know how to do it. But
I love how it's classic narcissistic abuse where they say, well, it's actually a you problem. There's people, it's them who do, the reason they don't believe it is because they are lacking something in themselves. No, we're lacking the evidence that you refuse to put forward. We're lacking the proof with our own eyes that you were able to do this. Why was your capsule not steaming the moment that it careened into the ocean? I understand people will go, however many thousand degrees. It's 5,000 degrees by the time it makes it through the atmosphere. The outside, the shell of that should be absolutely boiling to touch.
We don't carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. We can just Be us, be authentic us, tell our truth.
Our truth. What the fuck is this? What is this? This pseudo-emotional plea bullshit.
Is how it's interpreted, and as long as they're not hurting anybody, there's no issue.
Can I share one? I think it's
Oh, here we go. The one African-American member. Chirp up. I want to hear.
to acknowledge that sometimes those are people who want to be heard. And so I process it the same way I process people that say we're spending too much money on that and we have problems here on Earth.
Yeah.
Sometimes all I need to do is listen. And I've actually had the best response from people when I did not try to say, hey, for every dollar we spend at NASA, it's $3 to $7 of return. Or to, hey, I've seen the moon and Earth from space. It's an ellipsoid. When I just listen, those are the best interactions with folks like that because they're not always trying to get an answer. They just want to be heard.
Excuse you, I do want an answer. I want you to prove to me that you went to the moon. I want the photographs. I want the live stream. I want you to point the camera around the inside of I want you to literally Chris Hadfield it. I want you to do what he did. I want a constant 24-hour live stream of this supposed trip to the moon. And if you expect me to believe this next time with Artemis 3, you better be live streaming it. If Clavicular can get a 24-hour live stream running for, I don't know, him buying shoes at Foot Locker or something, you can get it for humanity's greatest supposed achievement. 24-hour live stream, I'm calling it right now. If they don't do it, it's bullshit. Singer Akon has opened up about his polyamory. Disgusting. And his 4 wives. Listen, whatever you feel about polyamory, if you don't hear this story and get a little bit of an ick in your heart about it, what? Let's hear it.
Up on his 4 wives as he revealed they are banned from having other partners.
Of course.
Akon sat down with Paul Brunson on the We Need to Talk podcast to discuss polyamorous life.
Can they have multiple partners? No. So only you can have multiple partners.
Throughout the episode,
I'm the man. Yep, I'm the man. Yeah, that's the weirdest. I've noticed polyamory's exploded in the black community. A lot of these men, they like to have the multiple wives and whatnot. And by the way, the same people that will give you the black Israelites, they'll give you the excuse for like, well, we learned the violence from y'all. We learned the violence from the white people. We learned to do all this. They're going to say, we learned to abandon our families from the white man. We saw all the traveling salesmen back in the 50s who had like 3 families. We were just trying to be you. We learn from you.
Akon dubbed his wives sisters and revealed that
do you guys get kind of like in your hearts why Sodom and Gomorrah kind of had to happen? Like a little bit, like, I'm sorry, a city, 2 cities, the original Twin Cities, they were full of sin, much like the current day Twin Cities. I mean, people, I'm just going to be honest with you. Were there angels being sent by God in order to find a clean soul, but then getting raped by the people of the city? Maybe that is happening in the Twin Cities, and in all honesty, it's probably going to be the next Sodom and Gomorrah. It's unfortunate. But do you understand why things like that happened? Like, I can fundamentally understand why a city built by these types of open relationships foster, well, the lines between this. I'm going to call all my wives, they're all going to be sisters. What the fuck are you even thinking?
all his wives are equal because otherwise it doesn't work. The rapper revealed that he has 9 children with his multiple partners. While the 53-year-old never confirmed how many wives he has in the podcast, back in 2023, one of his alleged partners claimed he had 4 in an interview.
He's disgusting, man. I mean, good for him if he wants to engage in whatever behavior he wants to. I'm not one to shame. I am one to call it gross and disgusting, but, you know, he can engage in it. People can engage in gross and disgusting behavior. Doesn't mean I'm trying to shame them for it. A 75-year-old woman died at a Tim Hortons in Fort Wayne, Indiana, after she entered the restaurant to complain about her drive-thru order and then instigated a physical fight, an altercation with the employee. No one involved has been charged because, thankfully, I think people are going to go ahead and realize that this bitch overstepped a line and boundary. They actually interview her daughter in this clip. No responsibility, no accountability, no mention that her 75-year-old mother struck the employee first, as a matter of fact. Let's just hear it. Go.
Back in the U.S., the horrific scene at a coffee shop in Indiana, a violent confrontation, a 75-year-old customer and the 17-year-old clerk, that customer collapsing and dying. Here's Aaron Katursky. Tonight, an elderly woman's family is trying to figure out how an argument over the wrong coffee shop order ended in her death.
My mother was wronged in the worst way. I lost the matriarch of my family.
My mom was wronged in the worst way. We lost the matriarch. She died. I'm not gonna mention that she hit the goddamn employee. I'm not gonna mention the fact that she started it. I'm not gonna mention the fact that she was screaming at the employee. I'm just gonna say that this is a tragedy.
At least know why.
Police in Fort Wayne, Indiana said 75-year-old Anita Grayson entered Tim Hortons to complain about her drive-thru
It's always Anita.
order and started arguing with the 17-year-old behind the counter. You can see a coworker then step between them before the customer appears to hit the younger worker first. That employee's manager then pushes the customer and the two tumble to the floor. Police said Grayson ripped out a chunk of the employee's hair.
Holy.
Minutes after the fight, Grayson was seen on the floor. And when police arrived, they found her unresponsive. Her daughter said she had heart trouble, and the family is upset.
Well, if she had heart trouble, she shouldn't have been causing fights at a fucking Tim Hortons. She shouldn't have been yelling at somebody, getting in their face over a goddamn coffee order.
The whole thing and how it could even happen.
I can see why she had heart troubles, because her heart was probably having trouble keeping up with her.
The whole thing and how it could even happen.
You should not enter a coffee shop for a coffee and a donut and come out unalived.
Unalived. You should not go into a coffee shop. How about you? Your mom shouldn't have gone into a coffee shop looking for a fight.
That is diabolical.
You're diabolical.
He has been charged, and the mayor of Fort Wayne is asking the community to not draw conclusions until all the facts have been released.
I see the facts, ladies and gentlemen. From what the camera angle we see right here, it sucks. That 17-year-old was getting the shit knocked out. She got clocked by that black bitch. Listen, there's nothing wrong with the race factor. There's nothing. Race has nothing to do with this. She just probably shouldn't have been freaking out in a goddamn Tim Hortons. Did she deserve to die? Of course not, ladies and gentlemen. Just like, unfortunately, the Democrats' hopes at becoming president in 2024 died. As speaking of which, the death. The autopsy report has been released, and it's inconclusive. The Democratic National Committee published an internal autopsy of his 2024 election cycle. Most of it, by the way, blaming it on the idea that you should have propped her up earlier. Biden shouldn't have announced that he wanted to rerun back in 2023 because he said back in 2020 he wouldn't seek re-election. All that, yeah, it's whatever. It's unfortunate. It sucks. No accountability, no responsibility, even from the party that claims to represent you, ladies and gentlemen. I think, you know what? Let's end out the episode talking about something else. Let's talk about the Odyssey, ladies and gentlemen. This continuous, I'm just going to be honest with you, this constant force of a worry in my life. I hate seeing bastardizations. I don't want to see this film if it will be a bastardization. Listen, I am not in favor of the modernized dialogue. I'm not in favor of Robert Pattinson referring to Odysseus as Telemachus's daddy. I'm not in favor of the modernized lingo like Matt Damon charging into battle going, "Let's go," sounding like I'm just going to be honest with you. This sounds like what is it? Friday Night Lights, that one like a football show that a bunch of people pretended to care about back in the 2000 somethings. All right. 60 Minutes is already, by the way, this is the reason I'm already so nervous. The media is so behind this film already. The media is putting out genius pieces. Christopher Nolan, director of the millennia, is about to pen one of the greatest. He's about to bring to life one of the classic of all time tales that looks, it looks pretty because they filmed it on IMAX. But in all honesty, when it comes to like costume design, not historically accurate. When it comes to casting choices, dull and uninteresting, or just flat out like bastardizations, as I've said before. Let's play this clip from 60 Minutes here.
Nolan's Odyssey brought Matt Damon and thousands of cast and crew to Greece, Iceland, Morocco, Italy, and Scotland. He shot 2 million feet of IMAX film.
I mean, it looks cool, but it looks like Lord of the Rings.
Unbelievable
It's believable.
When you see that, you've seen it 100 times.
I've seen it 1,000 times.
I've seen it 1,000 times. Well, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to start targeting the Australians. I think they're faking the accent too. I hear the accent from the English and the Australians. It doesn't sound real.
I think it's a lot of work by a lot of people.
I have the sense that you don't think of yourself as the most important person on the set.
Oh, I have the sense that you're just a giving, gracious soul who like directed like a mid-tier movie last time. Tenet was like it wasn't great, and then Oppenheimer, you know, it's fine. Historically mediocre on the facts, but whatever.
I think of myself as the representative of the audience on set. That's my North Star. That's how I have to be looking at the film. So in a sense, I am the most important person on the set because I'm the audience. In taking on...
The audience wanted to see Juno play Achilles? I don't even care. I don't even care if it's in the underworld. I don't care if it's like in a flashback or whatever. You wanted Ellen Page. I'm sorry. I can't. I only think of him as Ellen Page because I prefer Juno to every other thing that he's been in. You know, it's regrettable. You're comparing, what was the last Achilles I think we got? Brad Pitt in Troy. You're comparing that to what we get now. It's curious.
It does become about scale. It needed to be the biggest film that we had done. It needed to be challenging to all of us because that's the nature of the story.
Biggest doesn't always mean greatest.
Looks like you nearly drowned, Matt Damon.
We certainly put him through his paces.
Threw him through his paces. Okay. Christopher Nolan, ladies and gentlemen. You know, he said it's getting harder and harder to stay away from technology, smartphones, all that junk. Seems pretty out of touch and uninteresting as a person.
You don't do email? I do not. I never have.
And why not?
Privilege?
Do you get letters?
He has like associates and lower hominids to do that for him, to like pass around his emails. He doesn't have to do any of that. Maybe because he has a shit ton of money. He doesn't need to have a smartphone. You know how you need to worry about like paying rent on your phone, or you need to worry about paying mortgages? He has like interns to do that for him. You think that he needs that? He could still use a rotary.
Particularly interested in that as a form of communication.
No smartphone.
No, I've never had a smartphone. It's getting harder and harder.
Mm-hmm.
The return of the QR code.
That's not a brag, also, by the way. Unfortunately, it's not a brag anymore. To go smartphone-less, it's like, okay, you probably don't know very much, unfortunately. That's the only... do you own a computer? Do you investigate things on your own? Listen, I understand that not everybody who owns a phone is going to be a scholar with their device. They're not going to be, asking Jeeves instead of going to Google and getting brainwashed. Whatever. Not everybody's going to be Christopher Nolan.
QR code had sort of gone away.
QR code? What?
Now it's kind of everywhere, and if you don't have a smartphone, you can't do much with a QR code. So
What do you mean a QR code?
flip phone when I travel.
Is this a way, and I don't mean this in a pejorative sense of any kind, actually in a very complimentary sense, is this a way of keeping the world at a appropriate distance and not letting it cave in on you like the rest of us do in the digital world?
I mean, I think it's more a thing of I haven't let the rest of the world cave in on me. I'm just living the same way that we all used to. So.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living the way that we all used to, folks. I love hearing people who are out of touch with no sense. I have the ability to just sort of avoid the happenings, goings on about the world and whatnot. You know, I'm not saying you need to kill yourself over worrying about the world, but, maybe learn a thing. Maybe open a book. Maybe you'd actually know about the thing that you're adapting for the screen, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you had a wonderful time listening to this broadcast. I had a wonderful time gathering these stories for you. We will be back at it again next week, Monday through Friday. But in the meantime, folks, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I had a wonderful time recording this. I hope that you come back for next broadcast. Subscribe if you want to be there for it. Like if you liked it. Ring the bell for notifications. In the meantime, though, I have been Ollie Vogt Larson with Your Brain on Air. Thank you so very much for listening. I will catch you next week. Have a great weekend, and bye-bye.